Have you ever stood in front of an airport check-in desk, passport in hand, and thought, what do I say in English when it's time to check in for my flight? If so, you're in the right place, because today's episode of the English Shadowing podcast is all about checking in at the airport. We'll walk step by step through the entire process, from approaching the check-in counter, presenting your documents, explaining your baggage needs, responding to questions, to finally receiving your boarding pass with confidence and a smile. This episode is designed especially for beginner learners, so we'll keep things simple, warm, and respectful. I'll introduce you to key expressions like, "Good morning. I'd like to check in for flight ABC 123, or here's my passport and e-ticket," and we'll practice shadowing real-life dialogue slowly, so you can match the rhythm and tone of natural native speakers. You'll hear me model both the travelers' and the airline agents' lines, giving you the chance to speak and listen in turn, which builds your fluency and listening comprehension. We'll also talk through common follow-up questions like, do you have any checked luggage? Or would you like a window or aisle seat? You'll see how to respond politely and clearly. By the end of this episode, you'll feel prepared to check in confidently in English, save time, and avoid stress at the airport. But first, before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever checked in at an airport in English? How did it go? Did you feel nervous, or were you able to get through it smoothly? Please share your experience in the comments below. They might help others feel more at ease and motivated to try. Stepping into an airport can feel exciting, but also a little overwhelming, especially if you're traveling in a country where English is the main language. There are announcements, signs, people in uniforms, and many steps to follow. That's why today's topic is so valuable. Knowing how to check in at the airport in English will give you more confidence, independence, and peace of mind. Think about how helpful it would be to walk up to the counter and say, "Hi, I'm here to check in. My flight number is BA456. Without hesitation. That short, simple sentence shows confidence, and it works in almost any country. You don't need fancy vocabulary to sound fluent. The trick is to know common phrases and expressions, and how to use them naturally. For example, learning to say, "I have one suitcase to check," or "Can I have a window seat, please?" can make a big difference in your travel experience. In this episode, we're going to walk you through every part of the check-in process using real examples and practice conversations. By repeating and shadowing with me, you'll build your muscle memory, just like a singer or actor rehearsing lines. So even if you feel shy now, don't worry. We'll practice slowly and clearly. Just take your time, speak with me, and imagine you're standing at the airport check-in counter. You're not just learning English, you're preparing for the real world. Let's imagine you've just arrived at the airport. You've got your passport, your ticket, and maybe a suitcase or two. Now it's time to head to the check-in counter. This is usually the first place you go when you enter the departures area. At the counter, a staff member, usually called an agent or check-in agent, will help you get your boarding pass and take your luggage. So what do you say first? A polite and friendly greeting is always the best way to begin. You can say, "Good morning," or "Hello, how are you?" After that, introduce why you're there. "I'd like to check in for my flight to New York." Or you could say, "I have a flight with British Airways at 10:30. The agent might then ask for your passport and your ticket, or confirmation. You can respond by saying, "Here is my passport and e-ticket." See how simple that is? You don't need to say too much. Clear and polite communication is more important than using big words. Practice this now. Good afternoon. I'm checking in for flight AA-120 to Chicago. Then follow with, "Here's my passport." These short phrases help you sound confident and respectful. When you practice with me, you're not just learning words. You're learning how to interact naturally and politely, just like a real traveler. And don't forget, tone matters. A warm tone makes people more willing to help you. Let's keep building your confidence with the next steps of the check-in process. Once you've greeted the check-in agent and given your passport, the next part of the conversation usually involves your luggage. The agent will likely ask, "Do you have any bags to check?" Or, "Are you checking any luggage today?" If you have a suitcase that you want to check in, which means it will go in the airplane's cargo area, you can say, "Yes, I have one suitcase to check." If you're only carrying a small bag with you, you can reply, "No checked bags, just a carry-on." A carry-on is the small bag or backpack you bring on the plane with you. It's important to know the difference between checked luggage and carry-on baggage. Checked luggage goes under the plane, and you pick it up at your destination. Carry-on baggage stays with you during the flight. The agent may also ask, "Did you pack your bag yourself?" Or, "Are you carrying any liquids or dangerous items?" These questions are part of the airport's safety process. You can respond, "Yes, I packed it myself," and "No, I'm not carrying any restricted items." Don't worry, these are standard questions and easy to answer once you've practiced. Try shadowing with me. "Yes, I have one suitcase to check." Now you try. "No checked bags, just a carry-on." See how easy and natural that sounds with a little practice? Speaking clearly and calmly helps the check-in process go smoothly, and it makes you feel more in control of your travel experience. After discussing your luggage, the agent might ask about your seat preference. This is a great chance to learn how to express your needs politely. They may say something like, "Do you have a seat preference? Or would you like a window or aisle seat?" A window seat is by the window, which is nice if you enjoy looking outside or want to rest your head. An aisle seat is next to the walkway, and it's helpful if you want more freedom to get up during the flight. You can reply with, "I'd like a window seat, please," or "An aisle seat would be great, thank you." If you don't have a preference, just say, "Any seat is fine. Thank you." This part of the conversation is very short, but it's a nice opportunity to practice polite, useful phrases. Try repeating with me, "I'd like a window seat, please." Great job. Or you can say, "An aisle seat, please," if possible. These small but polite expressions make you sound confident and respectful. Now, before we go any further, if you're enjoying this podcast and you find this kind of practice helpful, please take a moment to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps me continuing useful shadowing lessons just like this one. And if you hit the notification bell, you won't miss any of our future travel-focused English episodes. Now let's continue. Next, we'll talk about getting your boarding pass and how to respond to questions about your destination. Now that your luggage is taken care of and your seat is confirmed, the check-in agent will usually move on to the next important step, printing your boarding pass. This is your official document that lets you get on the plane. It shows your name, flight number, gate, boarding time, and seat number. The agent might say, "Here's your boarding pass," or ask, "Would you like a digital or paper boarding pass?" If you want a paper one, just say, "Paper is fine, thank you." If you prefer it on your phone, say, "I'll use the digital version, please." It's also very common for the agent to confirm your final destination, especially if you have connecting flights. They might say, "Are you traveling to Los Angeles today?" Or, "Is Los Angeles your final destination?" A simple response would be, "Yes, that's right." Or, "No, I'm connecting in Los Angeles, but my final destination is San Francisco." These are small but very important exchanges that help prevent travel mistakes. Let's practice together. "Yes, that's correct. I'm flying to Toronto." And another one, "I'm connecting through London, and my final destination is Paris." By practicing these phrases, you're preparing yourself for a smoother travel experience. Understanding and responding confidently to questions like these makes the whole process feel easier, and the more you shadow and repeat them, the more natural they'll feel. Coming up next, we'll review how to ask for help or clarify something if you don't understand what the agent says. Every traveler, especially language learners, will sometimes face a moment at the airport when they don't understand what someone says. And that's okay. What matters most is knowing how to ask for help politely and clearly. If the check-in agent says something too fast or uses a word you don't know, don't panic. Instead, use one of these helpful expressions. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?" Or, "I didn't catch that. Can you say it again slowly?" These phrases show that you're making an effort, and most people will be happy to speak more clearly. If they use a word you've never heard before, like layover or gate assignment, you can say, "What does that mean?" Or, "Can you explain what a gate assignment is?" You can also ask them to write something down. "Could you write that for me, please?" Or, "Can you show me on the screen?" These are all polite and natural ways to handle confusion. Let's practice together. "I'm sorry, can you speak a little slower?" Now try. "Can you please explain what a connecting flight means?" By learning these simple expressions, you're giving yourself the tools to feel calm and confident, even when things aren't totally clear. And remember, you're not expected to be perfect. Just being friendly and respectful goes a long way in any conversation, especially when traveling. Once you've received your boarding pass and everything seems to be in order, it's a great time to ask any questions you might have about your flight or the airport. Check-in counters aren't just for checking bags. They're also a place to get information. If you're not sure where to go next, try asking, "Where do I go after check-in?" Or, "Can you tell me where the security check is?" These are very common questions, and the staff is used to answering them. You might also want to know more about your gate, especially if the airport is large. In that case, you could say, "How do I get to gate 32?" Or, "Is my gate close to the security area?" These are helpful phrases that will make your travel easier. Another good question to ask is about the boarding time. "What time does boarding start?" Or, "How early should I be at the gate?" Sometimes your boarding pass has all the details, but if you're unsure, it's completely okay to double-check. It shows you're being responsible. Let's practice some together. Repeat after me. "Excuse me, where do I go after check-in?" Another one, "Could you please tell me how long it takes to walk to my gate?" These are simple, polite, and clear, perfect for travelers at any English level. And remember, asking questions is a sign of a smart traveler, not a confused one. You're learning to speak with purpose, and that's exactly how native speakers do it too. After you finish at the check-in counter, Your next stop is usually the security checkpoint. This is where airport security staff will check your bags and ask you some questions to make sure everything is safe for the flight. Sometimes, travelers feel nervous because they don't know what to expect or how to answer these questions in English. Don't worry. The questions are usually simple and routine. For example, you might hear, "Do you have any liquids or sharp objects in your bag?" Or, "Have you packed your bag yourself?" The best way to respond is to be honest and clear. "No, I don't have any liquids," or "Yes, I packed my bag myself." If you are carrying small liquids, remember that most airports allow only bottles under 100 milliliters, and these must be in a clear plastic bag. Security might also ask, "Did anyone give you anything to carry?" or "Are you carrying any electronic devices?" These questions help them keep everyone safe. Practicing simple answers will help you feel more confident. Try repeating these phrases after me. "No, I don't have any sharp objects." "Yes, I packed my bag myself." Remember, being calm and polite goes a long way in making this process smooth. If you're ready, in the next paragraph, we'll talk about what to do if your bag needs to be inspected further. Sometimes, after the security check, an officer might ask to inspect your bags more carefully. This is called a bag inspection or additional screening. It's important to stay calm and polite during this process because it's just a routine safety check. The officer may say something like, "Can you please open your bag?" or "May I take a look inside your suitcase?" You can respond with, "Of course," or "Sure, no problem." If you don't understand what they ask, you can always say, "Could you please repeat that?" or "I'm sorry, I don't understand." These small phrases are super useful. The officer might also ask questions like, "Do you have any food or drinks inside?" or "Are you carrying any electronic devices?" It's good to be prepared with simple, clear answers like, "No, I don't have any food," or "Yes, I have a laptop and a phone." Remember, this process can take a few extra minutes, but it's for everyone's safety. And if you're enjoying this podcast and learning useful phrases to make your airport experience easier, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot and helps me create more helpful lessons. Next, we'll talk about what happens at the boarding gate and how to handle that final step before getting on the plane. Once you pass security and get your luggage checked, if you have any, your next step is to find the boarding gate. The boarding gate is where you will wait before getting on the plane. Usually, your boarding pass shows your gate number, but sometimes gates change, so it's always a good idea to check the airport monitors or ask airport staff. When you arrive at the gate, a staff member might say, "We will begin boarding soon," or "Please have your boarding pass and ID ready." This means you should prepare to show these documents when the plane is ready for passengers. When boarding starts, they will call groups or rows. Passengers in rows 20 to 30, "Please board now." Or, Group 3, "You may board." Don't worry if you miss your group being called. The staff will usually allow everyone to board eventually. You can politely say, "Excuse me, is this the right gate for Flight 456 to New York?" if you are unsure. Once your group is called, approach the desk and show your boarding pass with a smile and say, "Here is my boarding pass. Thank you." These simple actions and phrases help you move smoothly through the process and feel more confident. Try practicing the phrase, "I have Group 3, may I board now?" Or, "Is this the gate for Flight 456 to New York?" Practicing these phrases will make your airport experience less stressful and more enjoyable. Sometimes flights get delayed or even canceled due to weather, technical problems, or other reasons beyond our control. When this happens, it's important to know how to ask about your flight status politely and clearly. You can approach an airport staff member and say, "Excuse me, can you tell me if flight 123 is on time? Or is there any delay for the flight to Chicago?" If your flight is delayed, they might say, "The flight is delayed by 1 hour," or "We expect the plane to arrive at 3 p.m. If you want to know about cancellations, you can ask, "Has flight 123 been canceled?" Or, "Is my flight still scheduled to depart today?" If your flight is canceled, the staff may help you rebook or find another flight. It's also useful to know how to say, "Can you help me change my flight?" Or, "Is there another flight to my destination today?" Learning these expressions helps you stay calm and handle unexpected changes easily. Try practicing this with me. "Excuse me, is flight 123 on time?" And another one, "Can you help me change my flight if it's canceled?" Knowing these phrases will make you feel more prepared and less stressed in those uncertain moments. Up next, we'll talk about asking for special assistance at the airport, such as help for elderly passengers or travelers with children. Airports are designed to help everyone, including travelers who might need special assistance. If you're traveling with young children, elderly family members, or have a disability, it's important to know how to ask for help politely. For example, you might say, "Excuse me, can you help me with a wheelchair?" Or, "Is there a special line for families with small children?" Airport staff are trained to assist and will be happy to help you. If you're unsure where to find this kind of support, you can ask, "Where can I get assistance for elderly passengers?" Or, "Do you provide help for passengers with mobility issues?" Knowing how to say these phrases clearly will make your journey smoother and less stressful. You might also hear staff asking, "Do you need help carrying your bags?" Or, "Would you like me to arrange a wheelchair for you?" Responding with, "Yes, please, that would be very helpful," is polite and shows appreciation. Let's try some useful expressions together. "Can you help me with wheelchair assistance?" And, "Is there a priority line for families?" Learning these phrases in advance means you'll be confident to ask for support whenever you need it. Remember, asking for help is a smart and brave thing to do, not a sign of weakness. If you're finding these tips helpful, don't forget to like this episode and subscribe for more useful English lessons. Coming up next, we'll explore what to do if you lose your boarding pass or other documents at the airport. Losing important documents at the airport can be stressful, but knowing how to ask for help in English can make a big difference. If you realize that your boarding pass or passport is missing, it's important to stay calm and act quickly. You can approach an airport staff member and say, "Excuse me, I think I lost my boarding pass. Can you help me?" Or, "I can't find my passport. What should I do?" Usually, staff will direct you to a lost and found office or to the airline's customer service desk. Sometimes you might be asked to provide identification or answer a few questions to confirm your identity. Phrases like, "I lost my boarding pass," "Can you please help me find it?" and "Is there a lost and found office nearby?" are very useful. Also, if you lose your passport, you might hear, "You need to contact your embassy or consulate." It's a good idea to keep a copy of your passport in your phone or bag as a backup. Practicing these phrases beforehand will help you react confidently in this difficult situation. Let's try repeating some together. Excuse me, I lost my boarding pass. Can you help me? And where is the lost and found office? Remember, the key is to stay polite and patient while you get assistance. Up next, we'll discuss useful phrases for navigating airport shops and restaurants while waiting for your flight. Airports aren't just places to catch flights, they're also great spots to relax, eat, and shop while you wait. If you have some extra time, you might want to visit an airport cafe or a duty-free shop. Knowing how to ask for things in these places will make your experience more enjoyable. For example, if you're at a cafe, you can say, "Could I see the menu, please?" Or, "I'd like a coffee and a sandwich." If you have dietary preferences, it's helpful to say, "Do you have any vegetarian options?" Or, "Is this dish gluten-free?" When shopping, you might ask, "How much does this cost?" Or, "Do you have this in a different size?" These simple questions will help you communicate easily. Also, don't forget to use polite expressions like please, thank you, and excuse me. Practicing phrases like, "Could you please help me find the restrooms?" Or, "Where is the duty-free shop?" can also come in handy. If you're enjoying these tips, please take a moment to like this episode and subscribe to the channel. Your support encourages me to keep making helpful English lessons for you. Coming up next, we'll talk about final steps before boarding and some useful boarding phrases. As your boarding time approaches, it's important to listen carefully for announcements. Airport staff often use phrases like, "Final call for passengers on Flight 789 to London," or "Please proceed to Gate 12 for boarding." When it's your turn to board, you might hear, "Have your boarding pass and ID ready," so be sure to keep them handy. When you reach the gate agent, you can say, "Here is my boarding pass," or "Can I board now?" If you have carry-on luggage, staff may ask, "Do you need assistance with your bags?" Or "Please place your bag on the scale." It's helpful to know how to respond politely. For example, "Yes, please," or "No, thank you." If you have questions about your seat or the overhead bin, you can ask, "Is there space in the overhead bin?" Or "Can I change my seat?" Knowing these phrases will make boarding faster and less stressful. Try practicing, "Can I board now?" and "Is there space for my bag in the overhead bin?" Staying calm and polite during boarding helps you start your trip smoothly. In the next paragraph, we'll explore common phrases used during the flight itself, such as talking to flight attendants. Once you're comfortably seated on the plane, you might want to communicate with the flight attendants for various reasons, whether to ask for a drink, request assistance, or get information about the flight. Flight attendants often greet passengers with a friendly, "Can I help you with anything?" or "Would you like something to drink?" You can respond politely by saying, "Yes, please." "May I have some water?" or "No, thank you." If you need help, phrases like, "Excuse me, can you assist me?" or "Could I have a blanket, please?" are useful. Also, if you're not feeling well, it's okay to say, "I don't feel well. Could you please help me?" Flight attendants are trained to assist and want you to feel comfortable. Practicing these polite requests makes your flight experience smoother and more pleasant. For example, say after me, "Could I have a glass of water, please?" Or "Excuse me, I need some assistance." Remember, being clear and polite is key when talking with flight attendants. Next, we'll talk about how to handle customs and immigration when you arrive at your destination. After your plane lands, one of the last steps before you leave the airport is going through customs and immigration. This can feel intimidating, but knowing common questions and how to respond can make the process easier. When you approach the immigration officer, they might ask, "What is the purpose of your visit?" Or, "How long will you be staying?" You can answer simply, "I'm here for vacation," or "I will stay for 2 weeks." Sometimes, officers ask about your accommodation. Where will you be staying? In that case, say the name of your hotel or the address of the place you will visit. If you're bringing gifts or food, you might be asked, "Do you have anything to declare?" Answer truthfully with, "No, I don't," or "Yes, I have gifts." Knowing phrases like "I'm here on business" or "I'm visiting family" helps you feel prepared. Also, it's important to be polite and answer clearly. Practice with me. "I'm here for tourism, and I will stay for 10 days. This part of the journey is usually quick when you are polite and prepared. Up next, we'll talk about collecting your luggage and final tips before exiting the airport. Once you have passed through customs and immigration, the next step is to collect your luggage from the baggage claim area. When you arrive, look for signs that say baggage claim or luggage pickup. If you want to ask someone where to find your luggage, you can say, "Excuse me, where is the baggage claim for Flight 123? Or which carousel is for Flight 123? Once at the carousel, wait patiently for your bags to appear. It's a good idea to have your luggage tag ready in case you need to identify your bag. If your luggage is lost or delayed, approach the airline's baggage service desk and say, "My luggage didn't arrive. Can you help me find it?" Or, "I think my bag is lost." Staff will help you fill out a claim form. Finally, after collecting your luggage, you might want to ask for directions to the exit or transportation. You can say, "Where is the exit?" or "How do I get to the taxi stand?" These simple questions will help you find your way easily. Try repeating with me. "Where is the baggage claim for Flight 123? And can you help me find my lost luggage?" Now you are almost ready to enjoy your destination. In our last paragraph, we'll wrap up with some final encouraging tips for your airport experience. As we wrap up today's episode on checking in at the airport, remember that preparation and practice are your best friends. Airports might seem busy and confusing at first, but with the right English phrases and a calm attitude, you'll handle every step smoothly. Whether it's checking in, asking for assistance, boarding your plane, or going through customs, having useful expressions ready will boost your confidence. Always be polite, speak clearly, and don't hesitate to ask questions if you're unsure. Traveling is an exciting adventure, and mastering English at the airport is a great step toward making your trips more enjoyable and stress-free. If you found this episode helpful, please like it and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future lessons. Your support means a lot and helps me keep creating useful content just for you. Thanks for joining me on this journey through airport English. Safe travels, and see you in the next episode.